everybody to the workshop, the budget workshop. Been working on it now for a little while and it's starting to come together fairly well. There is some checking and stuff that we need to be doing next week. And we'll, particularly in the revenue section, there'll be some tweaking as we get closer to the date, you know, when we get more accurate numbers with revenue and everything coming in. Like I said, what you have before you is the latest and greatest. We've got all the blanks filled in and that sort of thing. I do want to point out that I've added a section over on the expenses. I've got to get the account number. It's 4532, and that is to be able to put money back into the savings account where we pulled it out a week ago to pay payroll and those things. So I got to get the account number in there, but the proposal is to put $2,000 a month back into that same account. That's about $24,000 a year. It'll take about 20 months to revamp that money that we took out of that savings account. So we needed a place for that to start happening, and this will start happening in October, provided everything is approved. So that's the only line adjustment that's been made. I did go in, looked at the revenue sources, and primarily to look at the expenses and that sort of thing, so that we could do some tweaking there. There were some minor adjustments all along the way. You'll notice those wonderful little pink lines that are on there. Somebody had asked about the fire department and that sort of thing, so I just highlighted those lines to show where those fire department expense lines and everything were. So there's one that I have not. I don't know which one it is. I mean, it's 4394.15, and there hadn't been. We're not showing any funding going into that line. But I'm not sure if that's the one that's the $2 a month.
I think that's probably it, because, you know, the other night Evan said that people were putting it in, but it hadn't been moved over to that account, so I bet you that's it.
So there's another one up there that says, let's see, fire supply. Well, I guess that was it. Fire contributions, because there wasn't a lot going in there anyway. And then we were told, I don't remember if it wasn't ADP. It was I think it was probably our auditor was telling us that the way that those things in there, and I still could be wrong, but the way we couldn't add it to the bill and make it a mandatory thing. And so we had to take it off the bill, and supposedly we've been asking people when they come in, do you want to pay your $2 fire? And a lot of people come in and say, well, I want to pay the $2 fire donation. I think the problem is that $2, like you were talking about, may or may not have been going into that account. So hopefully we can find that out as well.
It's finding out how to move it over. You know, I think that's the problem. Is it comes in as a payment off, like you pay my water bill is $54.56, and I pay $56.56 on my check. Well, how do you separate that out? You know, I think that's the issue.
I know Evan's been working on the what's it called, rate codes.
Right.
That will take that particular money and go into an account. We found out that we can have an opt-in or opt-out document of some sort that will, if you want to pay it,
They'll out like
and they'll out like that. So. getting the rate codes, set up. But anyway, I think that's probably the one that 4394.15 is. I'm just not exactly sure. But anyway, those pink lines show the fire department accounts. On the payroll, 4,511. There'll be slight changes there because once we get the salaries discussed and about the police department, police chief, then that'll be a little bit higher than what's shown there. We've basically built in for a police chief and 3 officers at this point. And depending on, what we pay, then that will go up a little bit there.
Do you have any prospects yet?
Well, we got one for chief, and I'm not sure what he's got in mind, but he has stated that he may be able to, take some, bring some in with him. That may not happen all at the same date, but I'm factoring in the payroll so that when we do get somebody, we've got something to pay them. And then, so I just wrote on there pending changes. So there could be some tweaks in the revenue side. There'll be a few more tweaks on the expense side. And then you'll notice the bottom line is that on the expenses we have. Let me get that so I know exactly. Looks like we're going to be able to expect $1,215,215 and $27. And then on the expense side, it looks like our expenses are going to total out to be $1,186,462. That leaves us with about a 28.5 surplus. Like I say, but there's going to be some tweaking and things in there. So the adjustments along the way, once we get started with the new budget, once we find, or if we find that other areas are either short or long, then we'll have a little bit of money that we can move to a particular line item, to help that particular line item, get on through. We can adjust those things a little bit as we go, but the main thing is, getting the budget set. And I'm scheduling a public hearing and approval of the budget at September the 26th. I'll get that out on the stuff of September the 26th that evening. And there'll be, I think right now there's been one other item on that particular agenda. You remember this last name is Anderson, the one to David Anderson wanted to build the dome thing. I failed to put him on the last agenda, so I told him that I would put him on this call meeting so that he could make whatever plans that he wants to make.
I thought maybe he had just decided not to after the last.
Well, he was batting that around a little bit because he wasn't sure what he's going to be allowed to do. We have checked on some things, some of the things that he's asking about. He can't do, but he can do certain things. So that'll be discussed in that meeting. But anyway, the budget thing is really close, except for the tweaking that we need to do. I spoke with Bobby before she left this afternoon. Told her that we would get together this next week. Hopefully our CPA will. Well, hoping she'll get everything worked up for us, before the actual approval date and that sort of thing. But she'll get everything as close as she can get it, and so we'll see where it goes from there. But we will. It looks like we're on tap to have a fairly decent budget to work from this next year. This year was a little tighter than the years before, but as we hone this thing down over go back to 2020 when we were having to average budgets to, come up with a budget plan. So now we're at a point where we have, our line items are a little more solid, and revenue increased a little bit. Sales tax, we're expecting in revenue to be like 268 plus thousand. The sales, I said sales tax, but the property taxes, just a little over 268,000. Sales tax looks like about 150,000. And then the other franchise fees and all those kinds of things that are listed under the revenue section. So, like I say, we end up with expected about pretty close to what we had last year as far as total. Last year we had 1,247,851. This year 1,215,027. So just slightly lower. I expected that to be a little higher because of another full year of business with a four-way truck stop and different things like that. But, and again, some of those things, we may can tweak those things next week and get a little better picture.
So that's the budget meeting that's coming up is the 26th.
So we'll finalize when we vote on the budget.
Okay, the reason I was asking is because y'all have to get somebody else to come in, and do it, because I won't be here. But now, we still are gonna have the regular crime control board and city council meeting the first Monday in October. I'll be at that one, but.
Yeah, we've got a meeting tomorrow night.
Yeah, we got a crime control meeting.
Yeah, I'll be here for this one too, but,
You're just gonna be gone.
yeah,
I'll call me, is it gonna be here?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's supposed to be here.
5:30?
4 o'clock, yeah.
Well, I'm talking about for the September 26th meeting.
Oh, what time?
That-
26th,
I think 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
At community
That'd be
center.
a community center, yeah.
so that'll be the big meeting as far as with the public and everything.
Yeah.
And that's a good night to have it because there's not a football game that night.
That's
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
I won't be fussy.
Well,
That's one thing.
can't
that
always
Dakota
schedule
was
stuff
talking
around
about.
school and all that stuff.
That's true.
So anyway, review that, and, sometime if you see things that you need to ask or need to change or what have you, well then, holler at us this next week so that we can begin to fine tune it, I guess.
It just takes a while to sit here and absorb
Yeah.
all the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that
It's
you
it's just a lot easier than it was
It's in
Yeah.
5 years ago.
I like that you put the over and under on here. That's nice to see because then I don't have to do it on my phone.
Well, with spreadsheets, you can put in the calculations and stuff, don't have to sit there and add 2 plus 2,
Poor Bobby, she has worked her
She has.
fingers to the bone. trying to
Both
do all
of
this.
them are, trying to get everything straightened out.
Were we able to locate, the fire department stuff?
I think they're still looking at it.
Okay.
There's, they've been able to find, the CDs and things like that. Don't know if the amounts are what they expected, but, they have found, where those things are. Trying to think, they had some questions about, CDs, getting cashed in a year before, when was it? 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was. And, we have records showing that the council approved the cashing in of those CDs. It was about the time that the crime board, said, well, we can't fund the police department, and so the city took on that for the remainder of that year. And then, there was some vehicles purchased or written, well, I don't know. Some of them were leased, I'm not sure if that's, which ones they were, but anyway, it was about that time frame. And, so anyway, that's, that's still to be discussed, I guess, but, other than that, I mean, that's all I have for you guys, unless you see something you wanna discuss. It may, whatever.
Have the leased vehicles been turned back in, or are they?
Not yet, no.
We still have them?
Yeah, we should
Well,
have.
that'll be up to the chief to decide, what,
Yeah.
with the city council on it.
So there'll be a need for the vehicles, whether or not it'll need all of them or not, that still remains to be seen. But,
Okay.
I mean, that'll be worked out, I'm certain. It's just gonna take a little while, to do it. It's not something we can happen overnight,
Well, rebuilding, it's like we went from nothing to now that rebuilding process. I hope it won't be as painful as the last time. That hurt last time, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Tim, do you have any questions?
Not right
Not right
now,
now.
I'm just sitting back and just listening.
Sucking it all in.
Now,
Stay prepared.
just so you know, and when you get ready to look at it or something, I mean, the police budget that we take care of, I mean, it's in this budget also. And I'll go ahead and tell you, as I work through this thing, of course, with, things that we're not using much, or as much gas, we're not doing this or that, made some cuts there, but, that part of that we're handling is like, and this one is like $42,600. And that's just, of those things that are listed there, some are like training, equipment, personal equipment and equipment for the city. The thing is that a lot of that stuff's already been bought, so we don't have to buy it again, Office costs, computers, internet, vehicle costs, the fuel, all the fuel costs that we have, for the city is, and for PD is, handled through WEX. So, at least from our side of the thing, there's that number I quoted to you is in there, provided that, because payroll is taken, through the city, it's not taken through PD. So, same way with like health insurance and things
Right.
like that, so.
I have a question. Why is the utilities for the police department separate from the utilities here? Are they separate bills?
And on the PD side?
Yeah, you got, your gas, electric, and water for the PD, separate from City Hall. Are they on separate bills? Is that why that's separate?
Well, they are billed separately, but I think that we pay all of that.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm just wondering why. I would think that you have one line item for the city gas, city water, city.
No, I mean, they're all billed separately, but,
That's
again.
probably why it's
Yeah.
separated then.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like out in the city, every house has to have a meter, and so, and that's the way that they keep up with what's being spent for that department.
And they have uniforms over there, so you're gonna have to find your officers that fit the uniforms. We gotta save money.
Hey,
You gotta
we
find
know
it.
a seamstress though that can help you
I'm
out.
retired now.
Right?
No, just kidding, but I just thought about that.
Will we be able to call the police this time instead of having to call parts for them, do that?
Well, I think so, but you'd ask him.
Are we gonna really call y'all instead of having to do parts?
So the plan is to get the cell phone back into action, that way you'll have a direct access to the police department and get an on-duty officer, instead of calling Clarksville.
And open door policy. You know, we have locked doors with cameras.
Yeah, y'all feel free to come in, we'll sit down, we'll talk,
As long as there's an officer there.
As long as
That's
the officer's
right.
there, of course, yes.
If they're at work and you're.
Well, I just know every time I called Clarksville, I never got no help, and then like I
Yeah,
said, the night my
they're
husband
bad.
died, they couldn't
won't
replace
come,
my car.
Yeah. I mean, they got lots of stuff to do, and they're short people as well, so if you get a call, I mean, maybe about the quickest you can get, maybe an hour, depends on what the circumstances are, but, you know, they gotta come
All
20 miles
departments
to
are
get you,
patrol
if
officers,
they're in town.
it's not just regular
Somewhere else.
lieutenants.
Yeah,
Everybody's begging for officers.
your per hour's gone by the time they come.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, if they're in Avery or Detroit, maybe a little bit longer,
Yeah.
especially if they're across the county or up
Yeah.
north somewhere. I
That's
mean,
right.
yeah,
they're trying to get there, it's just, you know, they gotta get there safely.
yeah.
Well, that night they never could get the officers to answer the phone, 911 couldn't, and, so we had to wait and put his death on the next day, cause they had to call a judge from Lamar County to get up and come over to my house to pronounce his death. And then the next day, the police was arguing with me, it was an unjustified death, I said, how? And then they winded up having to stop the cremation, go all the way to Winsboro, take fingerprint.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was an ongoing thing because they went to my house and the body left, but the judge gave the body to the funeral home. I mean, it was a mess that night, all night long. But they never got the cop to answer their call.
Yeah, it's hard on law enforcement right now. I mean, you know, think what it's like in the big cities. They sometimes, depending on what city it is, they may have thousands of officers, still can't cover it, you know?
Yeah, cause Dallas is complaining about the wait time on call,
Yeah.
and look how many officers they have, but they've got a large area to cover
And that's
too.
the only over, you're never gonna have enough police officers.
No, never is.
And I mean, even in this situation, like y'all are talking about the budget as far as going down to 4 officers, it would still be, I guess, if it goes down to 4 officers, then we'd be looking at probably 2 day, 2 night or something, you know, I don't know however they ended up working it out, but
The man's got a plan.
He sure does.
I got plans, I'll be seeing it soon, hopefully.
awesome.
All right, that's all I got, unless y'all have something else you wanna talk about.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Well, we can call to order.
I know, let's go.
We can go through all that formal stuff.
Gotta go clean it.
Yeah, in the workshop, we just kinda slide.
Yeah.
Okay, so before I cut this off then, tomorrow night, there's the meeting for the Crime Control Board here at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, it's a workshop.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna put on the city website what time for sure, you think it's gonna be 7 on the
On
26th?
26, yeah, I'll post it just like we do any other
Okay.
meeting. Yeah.
Okay, and I'll see if I can't find somebody to come to that one to record, I just won't be in town, so.
All right, thank y'all, have a good evening, go home and eat a bean.
I will go work.